Hello and welcome to Xinhua Live. We're coming to you today from Jilin province, that's in northeast China. And well, where are we today?
We are at the Changbai Mountain, and it is a very famous scenic spot in Jilin province. And as you can see right now, there are few people in the Changbai Mountain. And the temperature here is quite low. We have just climbed from the foot of the mountain to here. It's like 1,500 steps up here.
Which is why you can see 2,470 meters. Yes, that's how much we have climbed today, just to give you this live show. So why did we do it? What's wrong with us?
What's wrong with us? And it's extremely cold up here too. I have to wear two layers of sweaters inside, and Roshi is about to freezing to death. And as to why we have to be here, as I have said, that the Changbai Mountain is a famous scenic spot here, and up there lies the Tianchi Lake, the Heavenly Lake. It's a very important lake in northeast China, and for some people, it is even a sacred lake for them.
Right, yeah. So you mentioned it's a crater lake. This is something that maybe we need to make super clear to you guys. We are actually on top of a super volcano right now, aren't we?
Yes.
So the crater was formed by a massive explosive eruption, what, like 1,000 years ago?
1,000 years ago, maybe even longer.
Maybe even longer ago than that. There was this huge eruption and the top of the mountain just collapsed completely. And that's why we've got the fabulous lake that we are going to go and show you right now.
Moving, because stand in one place will be even colder.
Right? Yeah, so come along, we need to get a look at this lake. It's really important to a lot of people in Dongbei, right? So why is it that this lake is somewhere that we think is important to go to?
Because the lake has been frozen like for 6 long months. Because it has started to frozen like last December, and it has started to be unfrozen in June this year. So it started like to unfroze like a few days ago.
Yeah, so it's only really like last week or something that it really did start to thaw.
Yeah. And we can see there's sunlight.
Oh, it's breaking through over the far side, yeah. Isn't that beautiful? And the colour of the rock is quite interesting, isn't it? You can see that red, and for those of you who tuned into our live show yesterday, that might remind you of the hot springs that we saw.
Yeah, I really miss that hot spring right now.
I know, right? If only there was some hot springs on top of the mountain here with us.
And you can see there's still some snow, lingering snow on the slope.
Yeah, well, I heard that Changbai basically means like always white,
Always
right?
white, yes.
So does that mean that the snow never melts on this mountain?
Yes, of course. That's the reason they call it Changbai Mountain. And there's some metaphoric meaning behind its name. It's like in China, if two couples they are in love till their head were all white. So the Changbai also resembles.
I see. So if two old people are in love for their whole life, then they will have a white top just like the mountain.
So it
That's
also
such a lovely story.
The everlasting love.
Yeah, actually, when we were coming up the stairs, I did see, for example, at 817, the 817th step, someone had inscribed the date 817 for when they got married, which I thought was such a cute little thing to do as a couple.
Yeah.
So for those of you who've just joined us, we're looking at Heaven Lake on top of the Changbai Mountain. So could you help us introduce a little bit about the lake?
Yes, the Tianchi Lake, also, this is what Roshin called the Heaven Lake, is China's largest volcanic crater lake. And what we are looking at right now is that because the lake has just started to thaw a few days ago, and till today now it has completely unfrozen. So we are so lucky today to see the whole picture of the lake today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we came here yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
And actually, when we came here yesterday, we could not see anything. I think we caught one little teeny tiny glimpse of a wave, maybe, and that was it. Because as you can see, the clouds are coming in quickly.
Yes.
In fact, actually, as you are watching, I think the clouds are beginning to descend, and it might not be long that we can actually still see the water.
Yeah, but the weather here at the mountain is so changeable. So we might not see the lake for now, but who knows? After a few minutes, maybe the frog will just disperse.
Yeah, it's so changeable. Because after all, how high up are we now?
About 2,200 meters above the sea level.
Well, actually, I think the lake itself down there is at 2,200. We're at something like 2,500 meters.
Yeah, you are really good at mathematics.
Just remembering pointless numbers, I suppose.
And because we can also see there are a lot of tourists here at the mountain, because now as the lake is about to unfrozen, a lot of tourists come to see the lake, because the lake has experienced like a 6-month freeze starting from last year's December until this June. So like six months.
Yeah, even longer,
frozen.
right?
Yes.
Well, that's really common. Like Northeast China has a really long winter,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Yeah, it's clear again.
oh yeah, see, it's coming back. It's so unpredictable. It's quite
Yes.
exciting though, right?
Yes.
So why do you think so many tourists climb so high up this mountain? I mean, that's a lot of steps. 1,500 steps, was it?
Yes. But don't you think the scenery here is just worth the try?
Oh, it's totally worth it. Yeah, it's beautiful. So why is it that we're all the way up here? Why can't we get down to the water and really get a look at it?
I think there are two reasons for this. Because one is that the lake we see here is so pure, it's so clean, it's so clear. Because no one is allowed to get too close to the lake, so it protects the lake from the visitors. They might have brought the plastics or anything that may contaminate or even devastate the soil, the vegetation, or even the lake itself. So I think this is a way to protect the lake. And yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, because after all, people are coming from far and wide. Like we heard a lot of Korean speakers when we were walking up, didn't we? So from all of those different places, you can imagine that there's all sorts of things. Just even the soil on people's feet would be different, right?
Yes.
Oh, look, you can see the
And-
sun coming through up there.
Yes, I'm about to finish the second reason.
Sorry, yeah, so you had a second reason.
Because we are right now at a platform to see the view, but from the platform to the bottom of the lake, it's like there's some slopes. To keep the tourists safe, it's suggested we just stay at the platform, not to get too close to the lake.
Yeah, so it's for our own safety as well.
Yes.
And if we go to the other side, you can see the mountain slope as well. It's crazy to imagine, actually, as we were driving up, we could really see the clouds cleared for a moment, so we could see just how massive this mountain is. You know, actually, I heard it's a super volcano.
It's a super volcano, but the volcano hasn't been active for like several hundred years. So last time
Well, actually, it was about 100 years ago that it last erupted. So that's why we'd call it dormant, because there doesn't seem to be any. Oh, that wind is cold. See, you can hear that wind at home, right, people? It's going straight through us.
Yeah, although it's now mid-June in China. It's summer season in China, but up on the mountain is quite cold. So anyone who wants to visit Changbai Mountain and Tianchi Lake, we strongly suggest you that you can bring some warm clothes here.
Yeah, warm clothes are absolutely necessary. You definitely need your windbreaker. Although at the bottom of the steps, we did see somewhere where you'd be able to rent some thick coats for when it really is too cold, right?
Yes.
So if you're completely unprepared, don't worry. The tourist administration around Changbai Mountain have prepared for you.
Yeah, I think sometimes I just think it's quite funny because at the foot of the mountain it's like 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, but up here it's like only 7 to 8 degrees Celsius. So you have
And
to
it
put on
feels
clothes.
colder with the wind chill as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's amazing to see the clouds just falling over that ledge there, that cliff edge, right?
And the tourists here is not too many because it's not a busy tourist season for the Changbai Mountain. The tourism season will start like from August to September. That's the busiest time. So right now we can have the beautiful scenery with few people here.
Even though we risk not being able to see the scenery at all. Yeah, so August would of course be the best time because it's the hottest part of the year.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more comfortable up here. The other thing that I did hear from some tourists though was that actually during the autumn it's really pleasant because it's still reasonably warm, but also you have those gorgeous orange colours as the trees change from green to orange to yellow. So I can imagine that would be a really beautiful time of year to come.
And as the temperature continues to rise at that time, so some of the trees, the flowers will blossom, and so the Changbai Mountain will be quite a different scenery at that time. So if you have any questions, you can just leave your questions on our pages at Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And if we find your question, we'll try to answer it as soon as possible.
Yes, absolutely. So we're always welcoming any comments, any questions that you guys have for us at home.
And Roisin, do you know why the lake is so important in China?
I could hazard a guess, but I think I probably better defer to the Chinese person for that.
Oh, okay. So I really have the intention to ask because I have got the question prepared.
You're trying to test me, aren't you?
Yes. So the Tianchi Lake is like the source of three major waterways across the northeast China. We call it Dongbei region here. So
and Dongbei, just for any of you non-Chinese speakers at home, Dong means east and Bei means north.
Yeah.
So it literally just means northeast.
So it's the source of three major waterways. So the lake is like the source of the rivers that feeds people across the whole region. So it is of great importance for people living in this region.
Yeah, I hear there's a few stories attached to this lake as well. I mean, when you have these massive, important mountains with such significance, you do often get some magical stories to go with them, right?
Yes, and it is said that over the past 100 years, some people, some tourists, and some even scientists claim that they have seen monsters appeared in.
So that's just like the Loch Ness Monster back in the UK where I'm from.
There's some similarity between those two lakes, I think.
That's really cool. So I did hear a little bit about this. There was someone who took some photos of some mysterious objects, right?
I'm not sure it's monster or something else, but people just call it the monster in the Tianchi Lake. So whether you buy it or not, that kind of creature may really exist.
Well, we better get all of you guys out here to come and see if you can find proof that the monster of Tianchi Lake really exists.
Yeah. And it's really quiet here as well.
Yeah, now that the clouds are beginning to descend, I think a lot of tourists have given up, haven't they?
Yeah. So you have to be really patient with this lake, because once you get here, you might not be able to see anything. But if you turn around, decide to leave, then the lake might decide to show itself.
Yes, the weather on top of this lake is a fickle mistress, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see the cloud is really coming in now.
I think we can just stand here and talk like forever, because the scenery here is just so beautiful.
Yeah, even with half of the lake covered in mist, it's still so beautiful, isn't it?
So what did you feel about yesterday? We climbed here and we didn't see anything of the lake.
Well, yesterday I thought our experience was a little bit different. We actually came from a different side, because today is the west side.
Slope.
Yeah, so we've come up from the west slope this time, but last time we came up from a different angle, which actually has much better roads. So we were able to get a bus basically up to the top, to the lip of the crater, right? So when we came round this side, I was not quite expecting to have to do so much exercise. So yeah, we started up the steps and we got to about 100 steps. I was like, yeah, okay, going strong, no trouble. And then I heard that we had to do 1,500 steps, and I changed my mind a little bit.
But you made it. You climbed till here.
Yeah, we made it to the top. We definitely did our exercise for the day.
Yeah. And the wind gets strong and the mist is all over the place again. And I was told that the water at the lake is alive and it flows constantly through all the year around, and it has only one opening in the north, so it creates some waterfall. It's like 68 meters high, and yesterday we have broadcasted the waterfall. You have seen the waterfall.
Exactly, yeah. So yesterday we went to the waterfall for the Changbai waterfall, right? And yeah, that was absolutely incredible, and it makes sense now seeing how big this lake is, how powerful that waterfall was. And also I was just thinking about how we saw those hot springs, and it really does remind me seeing this mist coming in. It's such a magical place.
Yes.
It totally makes sense that people would make up stories and myths and legends about this place, right?
Yeah. As we just talk about the mysteries and legends, and some people in Dongbei even said that the lake was once a mirror from the goddess that live in the Changbai mountain, because maybe the goddess just happened to fall her mirror down to the floor, and then the broken
so she
mirror
dropped her mirror and it smashed.
Yeah, it smashed and became the lake.
Well, lucky for us that she was very clumsy then, right?
Oh, it's getting colder.
It really is getting super cold, so I think we might take this opportunity to end our live show, right? So as the clouds are really pouring into the crater, I think it's about time that we said goodbye to you guys at home. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed today's broadcast, please do like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also leave any comments or questions you have on any or all of those platforms.
Yeah, before we say goodbye to you, I want just to remind you one last time, because it's really cold up on the mountain. So you better to bring some warm clothes with you, or you will just like me and Roshin trembling in the in
Freezing in the wind. Yeah, it's okay in the sun, and you think you're okay, and then that wind comes through, and you realise it's really that cold.
Yes, try to keep yourself warm here, because the scenery here is good, but don't catch cold here.
Yeah, be careful. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.